by the way.
Oh, okay. No worries.
No worries.
Yeah, no. Hey, you're the mastermind, so I'm just I'm here.
I'm here. Well, who is here?
Who is here? Travis is here.
Hi, Travis.
Travis happens to be Sean's dad.
I like how we said we weren't going to do that.
No, it just happens.
It felt normal.
It does feel normal,
Mm-hmm.
but we're sitting so far away. We could get cuddled up. I mean, it's no big deal.
All right, yeah.
I'm just teasing.
That would be a little weird. You know what's funny is you'd be small spoon.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind it. You know, you're my kid, so it's good.
It's just another one of those things.
Just
it feels
another
normal.
one of those things we just don't speak about, and no one knows.
Well, but now everyone knows.
No, that's gross.
No. Well.
We took off on that one real quick, and it just
Boom. Quick, fast,
right
and
there.
in a jiffy.
Yeah, it's like Evan speeding down the road, just
Mm-hmm. Well, what
shifting
kind of
gears and passing other people,
Yeah, we'll say that.
Okay.
Passing everybody
passing everyone
except for me and my
except for me.
grandma.
You
See-
can be first after me. I mean, it's really doesn't. That's
See,
only
the
way it
thing is with him in particular, he drives fast, but he doesn't have like the lay of the land like you and I do.
works. True.
So he goes fast where he can go fast
And he's basing a lot of it like
off highway travel.
a highway travel period. Like he gets on the highway, and he's like, "I'll be there in 5 minutes." 2.5 minutes later, he's right there.
Yeah.
He's right here. He's
Mhm.
done. It's kind of
Yeah, it's weird, but I still beat him. Like we race from grandma's every time, and
uh,
I beat him every time. And
That's
I
awesome.
swear to you, I don't go over 75 when I race him.
it's
He's
you
doing like
just under-
120. It's like I'm gonna beat you. Like there was one time, right there in between, basically when you get on 25 from Colfax
right.
and when you can get off on Santa Fe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Evan always rode with me when I would take Santa Fe.
Okay.
So, but the thing is, the key if you're trying to hit Santa Fe ahead of a person that's like in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
the key is to get all the way over to the right lane as soon as you pass where you get on to 6th and then just run it. Split pass down the side. And he's stuck in the quote-unquote fast lane.
Yeah, because everybody backs up because
Yep.
everybody's getting over.
Exactly. So you
See?
just rip in there.
See?
And then
You're learning.
he's looking at me like, how did you beat me? I've been driving a lot longer than you, sir.
That is true, and technically, if you play it right, on and off ramps are actually helpful. Because there's a lot of times where you can get off on an off ramp, you catch the light, you go up and over and back down,
Back down.
and you've already passed
Everybody.
72 cars in that.
Yeah, because
small-
they're all terrified and don't know how to merge.
That is true. It's like a zipper.
Mm-hmm.
One time, just let people in. It moves a lot.
Well, the
quicker,
other
a
thing
lot-
too is the people that are getting on need to be doing the highway speed limit, not the street speed limit.
Yeah, and they have a tendency to worry about, I got to get in front of that car. So by the time they get down at the off, then they hit passing gear and try to merge.
Mm-hmm.
Gradual speed up.
Yep.
By the time you get to the merge, you're already at highway speed. You should be able to merge in. Boom, done.
Yep, and it's nobody's got to slow down, none of that. That's why I hate 25. Like the worst sections are probably
Well, I know for the
it
fact.
bottlenecks, really tough. Like there's a few patches, especially like it doesn't matter which way you're going, northbound, southbound. Like what is that, 84th to Thornton Parkway?
Between all your merging from the high from 36 all the way up to 120th is garbage. Like nobody knows how to drive. It's like everybody lost.
Yeah. Once you get underneath 70 or 76,
Or after 58th, that
Yeah.
whole mini mousetrap
mm-hmm,
of
but
270 and 25.
yeah,
and
220,
36
yeah,
and
36,
I-76,
76.
all that.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Everybody turns
Mm-hmm.
special.
But then so it gets bad too. From like Colfax to I
Santa
would
Fe.
say Broadway to probably 28th
Yes,
is a fucking nightmare.
it's garbage because there's so much going on and it's the anticipation and of everybody's tired.
Mm-hmm.
In the afternoons, everybody's tired. They got off work. They're drained. You can only stare at a screen for so long, or work your ass off. And then when you get in your car, all you want to do is just go home.
Yep.
All you want to do is just relax. You're wishing for that cigar, the whiskey,
Mm-hmm.
You know, that, the beer,
The beer.
the beers,
Mm.
the beers.
Yeah.
But, and then when you finally get home, you're so angry because you've been stuck in traffic around everybody else
Yep.
who's the same way.
Mm-hmm. You're
So
all pissed off.
technically,
At
we're
the same...
all the same.
Yeah. We're all pissed
We're
off.
all pissed off. We're all the same. But then when you get home, you try to relax. You can't because you have to vent about
The stupid shit you
the
saw in
stupid
traffic.
absolutely. And I've seen some dumb shit. I have seen some stupid stuff.
What's the stupidest thing you've seen? I know you're a driver. You were a driver too at one point, so I'm sure you.
I have
saw
actually watched
shit.
a person, and I don't know, they may be watching this at some point. I would just like to call you out that you can't change your pants while driving. You can't do it.
What?
I've actually seen a person driving changing their clothes. Like they needed to go somewhere, or they were that late, or like you couldn't take your other clothes into your job, change, and then put them in your locker, or put them back in your car, or whatever it may be. They're actually physically changing their clothes in their car while driving, and
I don't know if
and
that's...
we're driving highway speeds.
That takes... I don't know if that's a
That-
bad thing. That's pretty fucking talented.
That's not talented. That's just straight up.
It's asinine.
It's asinine. It's idiocy. Like its finest. Like.
Mm-hmm.
And the swerving and everything, because I thought they were like impaired in some way.
Drunk off their ass, just
And
driving.
they're driving with their left foot. They got their foot up here. They're trying to. I'm like, what? And so I slowed down and I watched them. I'm tunnel racing with this guy going down the highway, and I'm like, I wish I had a camera. I wish I
wish you had a camera too.
just filming and be like, not to be creeper like, but just to show the world that.
This kind of shit happens.
This kind of shit happens. Like I see people eating bowls of cereal and shaving and doing makeup and all that. That's normal.
Mm-hmm.
This is normal stuff, folks. This is stuff that everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a different kind of person to go, you know what? I'm late. I'm late. I'm going to change my clothes. Like, I don't know if they, I didn't get to the part where like any chonies or anything were swapped. I don't care, dirty ass, whatever. But physically, like driving, a shirt, a hoodie.
Yeah,
that's
a hoodie's pushing it.
A hoodie's pushing it because
you're not
cover
looking
your
at
head.
you're not looking at.
And
the
there's no
road.
fast way. Like a zip up hoodie, no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
A pullover hoodie, you're dancing with the devil, and you're gonna get your toes stepped on.
Yeah.
But changing your shoes and pants while driving.
Yeah.
High five, man. High five if you made it. I was backing up traffic. I had to let him go, Hallelujah to you. But I mean, I don't know if Harry put him in the wall. I don't know.
Were your trucks covered or governed?
Mine wasn't. I was the only one that didn't.
Lucky bastard.
When you spend that much time in a truck, and I actually got 2 new trucks over the period of the years that I drove. And
how long did you drive? Like 10 years? 12 years?
I've had driving jobs for a long time.
Yeah.
And everything. But once my previous job, I got keys to the Hino, the new one, the new big flatbed. That's when they brought 2 tons in.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they redid all the smaller trucks, and then when I moved down to a smaller truck, I got a new Dodge that wasn't governed.
Oh, you got basically what? Oh, I'm trying to think of somebody. You were driving what? Something similar to like Daryl? Is that what you were saying you were driving at the time, or a little bit bigger than that?
A little bit bigger.
Okay.
It was.
Kind of like.
It's a 5500, but it's a 5500. It's a 1-ton truck, but it's got the 20-foot flatbed or 16-foot flatbed with a 4-over, so you can run 20-foot pipe and.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, mine's just a 16-foot box truck.
Look at you go.
They
Penske?
suck.
It's like a Penske truck.
I drive for Penske.
You drove the Penske truck?
That's who we have. That's our deal.
Oh.
Because so when I started, we started with Ryder.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they were like shortchanging Kenco or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they ended up going to Penske. And I'm not trying to make enemies out of anybody, but Penske, you suck dick.
Oh, they're terrible.
It's a fucking nightmare.
It's a terrible. I mean, the guys over there, the mechanics, cool as hell.
The mechanics.
The mechanics are cool as hell.
The service people are cool as shit. It's anybody else.
I don't know if their talent is just being cool. Like your talents of actually working on a vehicle,
not so
they're
hard.
subpar, man. It's like changing a tire, but not tightening the lug nuts. It's like I put the tire back on.
Yeah,
Like
two turns is what my boss told me. Two
Yeah,
turns. Are you trying to use a fucking torque wrench on it?
yeah. It's like, what did you just what? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah. It's So there's.
I would say the stupidest thing I've seen done in when I've been driving, I've seen some pretty wild shit. I've seen a Jeep completely catch on fire and burn the asphalt off the road.
Those are pretty impressive.
That was pretty fucking impressive. I was not a happy camper though, because we were coming back from Santa Fe, New Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and for some reason it had us jump on 287 and work
Right.
like that weird back wind up into Pueblo and Walsenburg.
Mm-hmm.
And it was back, like, I would say we were probably fucking 20 miles from the Colorado state border, and we come around the bend on 287 and dead stop traffic. And I'm like, what the fuck? We're on a back highway. Like, there should be no reason for this shit.
Like,
And
did you hear banjos?
I didn't, unfortunately. But
Thank
then
God.
I like look up, and a Jeep, like a Rubicon, one of the small Jeeps,
Mm-hmm.
was pulling like an 18-foot like camper.
Okay.
And
Doable, but not smart.
yeah, doable, not smart, but you could tell the guy was hauling ass, because he just, like, it might have been a combination of panic and speed, but you could see on the ground, obviously before the ground was no longer there, that he had just come to like the screeching stop, jumped out the car, and like called 911 or some shit. Because then there was like 8 fire trucks, and once they had got the fire put out, they were still watering the ground, like the asphalt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Asphalt.
Because it
Holds the heat and everything, and then
Yeah.
plus it's a tar-based material. So what is
Mhm.
tar? Tar is technically a byproduct of diesel and everything, and fuel, and
Mhm.
it'll burn.
Yep, it'll burn for. I've seen that. Last time I was in Nebraska, there was some. It was like a weird thing where it was like a flash freeze overnight, but it was raining the night before,
Mm-hmm.
so it was black ice everywhere. And I was doing probably 50, 53, and was like still kind of puckered butthole the whole nine, just making sure you don't die.
Mm-hmm.
And in our trucks, because we have such new ones, I can see how fast the car is ahead of me, like
Mm-hmm.
how fast it's going. And he come ripping by 18-wheeler doing like 85
Oh yeah.
on black ice.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, fucking power to you, dude. Like, I'll see you in 5 miles. And I shit you not, 15 miles down the road, flipped on his side in the middle of the highway.
That's why they always tell them
on 80. I'm like, yep, see, that's stupid. Like, I'm a 16-footer. I can tell when my truck's going.
Yeah.
You don't get that same luxury in an 18-wheeler.
It's a different dynamic.
Yes.
Like power to the truckers. We dig you. Thank you for all what you guys do, but like, don't be stupid. You know what I mean? You have to know, because it's your comfortability, and their obviously they have all their gauges and their
But it changes so goddamn fast in those vehicles. Like, you can be okay, and then the next minute you're not. Like,
yeah.
I was watching. They didn't have no cable in this fucking rural ass middle of nowhere Wyoming town I was in. I think it was in Cody, and I was watching not Ice Road Truckers, but it was Highway to Hell.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like the trucking companies that come in and tow trucks that
Right.
like fuck themselves up. And one of them, a guy was like, they were trying to pass. He hit a patch, and he, like, the back end started to move faster than the front end. So he started to like T-bone almost. And jackknife. But then his front, he like tried to overcompensate. And so he ended up jackknifing sideways, so the trailer's still facing forward, but
But it
his
spun
cab
him around.
is like now grinding against the front of the semi on the right of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he ended up, boom, hitting him, ripped the whole cab off of the actual frame of the front truck,
Mm-hmm.
and sent it like 80 feet forward. And then the truck like jackknifed into the other one, and they ended up needing like 18 like different pulley trucks to pull just the trailers apart, because they were both going so fast when they collided.
So that's just a single, and then you got the doubles and the triples and everything.
Those guys,
And
excuse me, they have fucking balls.
oh yeah, and you start doing hazmats and all that. It
Mm-hmm.
changes the whole everything. But um, yeah, it's when you get in there, it's like sitting on a couch. It's all nice and air ride and fluffy, and you got your heaters and your radios and the CBs and all the
Mm-hmm.
doodads and the bells and the whistles. And then
Yep.
these guys just they
Mm-hmm.
wheels are spinning, beavers are grinning.
Yep.
They're having fun and they're eastbound and down and
Mm-hmm.
away they go. But a lot of times they just I think it just becomes an arrogant part.
Yeah, you've done it for so
You've
long.
done it for so long, you're like, ah, it's just wet.
You want to hear the wildest story I've ever heard when it comes to like semis and shit?
What's that?
So I was talking to Grandpa,
Okay.
and he might have told you this story. I'm not sure. Apparently, there was
Was he
one.
racing it?
No, he wasn't racing it.
Okay.
So he was in the Big Blue
Mm-hmm.
coming back from the cabin. I guess it was one of the off times when, uh, I guess Grandpa was telling me this was when Evan and I were like itty bitty,
Okay.
and he was coming down 285 from the cabin in Big Blue by himself. I guess he went up there to do what he normally does when he goes up there by himself, and was coming back down 285, and we all know how Grandpa drives. Like, he drives like 85. That's his steady pace. It doesn't matter what the fucking speed limit is.
Speed to age.
Yeah, speed to age.
It matches.
And he was coming down, and I guess a semi just flew past him. Like, doing, Grandpa said, he was probably doing like 120, 130.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Grandpa said that he could tell his brakes went out. Like, he could smell that the brakes went out.
Oh yeah,
on the
you can
truck.
definitely smell
Yeah.
it.
And he watched the guy, like, the guy flashed his safeties at Grandpa, basically to tell him, like, slow down. And so Grandpa slowed down, and then, like, I guess Grandpa was saying there was probably about a quarter mile, a half mile between him and the car and the semi. And all he watched was the bill fold out the window and sent the truck down off the side of 285 into the ravine.
I think I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I think yep.
He told me that probably 2 summers ago when I was talking, or it was last
I
summer.
think I actually remember that accident. Yeah. That truck lost its brakes. It had no like,
And 285,
It-
anyone that lives in Colorado and has spent time in the mountains off 285, there it's not like 70
no
or
it's-
the other highways that have the runaway truck ramps. 285, you're basically just sending it until the truck takes you off of the road.
right. There's so many hairpin. I mean, not hairpins, but there's a lot of tight cornering and everything, and it's narrow.
Especially once
Most of it's a 2-lane highway from once you crest over. Actually over Crow Hill all the way till Fairplay, depending on which way you're going, and then all the way down Conifer Pine, all that.
Evergreen, Morris,
Yeah,
and all that fun jazz. Yeah. So I'm curious because I think I have a hunch, but Evan and I were paging our bets. What's your favorite car, Dad? Because growing up, it was a holy hell.
you okay?
Yeah,
You need water?
breathed the wrong way.
Okay.
It was a
In and out.
a Barracuda.
The
Growing
71 Hemi Cuda it's up there. It's top 5. 1971 Hemi Cuda, 426 Elephant. Oh yeah, that thing's.
I don't think I've ever seen one in my life.
I'm gonna go. Do you think it's a hot rod or do you think it's a truck?
Oh, I'm gonna say conventional wisdom would dictate I say a truck because of how you've been the last few years with your trucks. But
Pretty close. It. Again, there's a truck in the top 5, but I think
What
my
is it, a
number. My
C10?
number. No, I had a C20 already, but
wasn't that the white one?
with the white one that actually got painted John Deere green. Sorry, Farmall folks. I am Farmall, but
Needed a green.
but I needed a green truck.
Not the white dually at Grandma and Grandpa's. That's not.
That's different. That was a C30.
Oh,
But,
okay.
Yeah, the Tonawanda. Yeah, that thing was. I'm gonna say I'm probably gonna go with a 50 Merc lead sled. I think is my top number 1. If anybody's ever seen Cobra,
I don't even know what
Sylvester
car you're
Stallone movie, great movie, has a 50 Merc, and that thing is, Oh yeah.
I don't even know what car you're talking about. I don't
No,
think I've ever seen it.
50 Merc.
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it's up there.
Hmm?
But yeah,
What do you think mine would be?
it's probably going to be a European car. I'm
Okay.
going to probably say not hot rodish. You're more. You and
I'm
Evan have a different.
I'm like European supercar kind of.
You're a European supercar kind of guy.
Yeah, because I wanted
But
a
you're
Lambo.
not. You want
I did want a Lambo for a
you
long
wanted a
time.
Murcielago for so long that
Hell yeah! See, yellow.
um I'm probably an AMG
Okay,
and
so we already know it's Benz.
yeah, you're I see you like AMG Benz
But do you know what class?
two-door.
Though? Oh,
I don't think
two-door?
I think you're a two-door guy. I don't think you're a four-door. Four-door
I'm
leans
too
to
small
more
for
like
soccer dad vibe. Wealthy soccer dad vibe.
yes.
See, I can't do two-door. I'm too big to be in a two-door.
No, you're not.
The
Shaq's,
hell I'm not.
Shaq's got a two-door.
Shaq.
Granted, but it's little
Yeah,
up for him.
yeah. See, mine
He's,
changes.
he's a short guy.
Yeah, he's tiny. No, it changes. So for a long time, my dream car was a '65 Chevy Mustang. Oh my God, I'm gonna be beheaded. I'm sorry. I wanted a '65 Ford Mustang, baby blue, with a white soft top, with a big block in it.
Nice.
That's what I wanted for a long time,
That
and
is
I
a
still
good
want one.
car.
I
Good
still want
steel.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
but now I've decided that once I start making real money, I want a 2022 Nissan, or not Nissan. I want a 2022 Mercedes-Benz GT Black Series. Creme de la creme.
I'm kind of blown away.
325. $325,000 to buy the car.
There's that.
They
I
are
mean,
beautiful. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up.
Yeah, that's a beautiful car. But again, you're in the European mix, so I was kind of right.
I am a firm believer that a naturally aspirated European V8 will. I'm American.
Oh, you're getting. Up
I'm
there.
gonna go there. A naturally aspirated European V8 will always beat a naturally aspirated American V8.
See, you're right up there with the 71 CUDA, man. I'm telling you, it's got the big block.
I just think the way, because so I went and test drove the 2013 C63 AMG, my second favorite car of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat in it, and obviously I'm a 20. I was 20 at the time when I went and didn't get to test drive it because
You just got
with
to
a
sit
car,
in it and
yeah,
smell
with a
the
car
leather,
that like,
got to touch.
yeah, got
Where
to touch
ass meets leather, it's like
where man meets
Yeah.
machine.
yeah.
Woo. And he was like, "Yeah, sorry, dude, we can't let you drive it off the property. This is a $40,000 car. Like, you need to be pre-approved and basically almost done buying it before we'll let you drive it."
The only thing that you're missing is the date on the paperwork.
Exactly.
That's it. That's
And-
just the date to where it goes from dealer to individual.
Yep. And
on
so he
test
was
drives.
like, "All right, this is the deal I'll make you." I'm like, "Well, I'm
Unless
sorry,
you have
I'm
like
not."
a 900 credit score, and then they don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was like, "I'm sorry, but I'm telling you, I'm not purchasing this car until I can at least sit in the car and hear it run." And he was like, "Shit, I can make that happen." Toss me the keys. He's like, "It's the one over there." He goes, "You're not gonna be able to drive it. It's got the dead switch on." He goes, "But you can turn it on and you can rev the bitch out of the motor." I was like, "All right, cool." Now, mind you, it's me, Evan, who's 18 at the time, and another buddy of mine who's 19 at the time. So you see three jackasses that look like they still belong in high school are trying to purchase a $40,000 vehicle, and I was like,
Here's the thing: were you rocking the Punjab
I wasn't rocking the Punjab beard. I wasn't getting my Amish on.
No?
No.
Okay.
I had what I had today. Just no.
Just a little
fade.
scruff,
Yeah, a little scruff. You know that 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, cool. Evan's wearing a I Love Hot Moms bucket hat, and we look like we're up to no good. Like we're waiting.
We're already up to no good.
And so he was like, he walks us out to the car, and he's like, all right, cool. Stood in front of the car the whole time as if I was really gonna try and take this thing. Like, I'm not trying to take this. So Evan gets in the passenger side, and he's like, dude, this is insane. I'm like, that's
you guys
what I'm saying.
Was it push start, or did you actually have to put key in the ignition?
Push start.
Push start, even better. That's the coolest thing ever.
I loved it because I don't own anything with a push start, so I like sit in it and I'm like, oh,
it kind of makes you feel cool.
Oh hell yeah!
Thank you, Jeep, especially on the Renegade. Push start is amazing. Makes you feel like a rich guy, even though it's for us middle class folk.
Yeah, so I sit in, and it's cold start. Like it's probably, I would say, probably 40 degrees outside. It's probably 8 a.m.
Similar today.
p.m.
Oh,
it was probably like 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. Nobody's there. That car probably hasn't been touched in a week and some change because nobody wants that car. It's rear wheel. We live in Colorado. Like you're not driving a rear wheel often in Colorado. And so nobody really looks for them. So I sit down, and I'm like, oh, my God, I need to change my underwear. Like, this is incredible.
Did it make your sticker peck out?
Oh, it did. 100%. Evan was like, rev it. And the guy's staring at me like I'm like doing something I'm not supposed to. So I'm like, rev it to like 2,000 RPMs. I'm like, God damn, the whole car's shaking at 2,000 RPMs. Like, what is this thing? And then Evan's like, 7,000. He's like, I want to hear it at 7,000. I was like, be ready for this guy
you're
to
pushing
yell
it
at
at that point.
And so I'm like, all right, here we go. Drop the foot. Oh my God, the fucking mirrors are vibrating. The whole car is like literally shaking side to side. The guy is staring at me, like getting visibly frustrated that he has a 20-year-old kid in a $40,000 car revving the shit out of it. And I'm like, Ev, I know you, and I really don't trust you right now. I'm like, but I want to hear it from outside. I'm like, get in the driver's side. Rev it to 5,000 RPMs. Like, don't rev it the full way. He's like, all right, cool. Switch seats. I stand at the back, and Evan, being Evan, revs it to the red. Like, he's fuck this. I'm revving it all the way. He's going to hear this because I want to play with this toy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, backfires, shoots flames out the backside. I'm like, is this stock? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I just told Evan, I was like, turn it off. Like, we need to leave before I steal this car because I can't afford it right now, but I want it. And
there you go. And you'll never get that from an electric car.
Not fucking once. I think I need some water now.
Yeah. A little parched.
Yeah, what, you wouldn't buy yourself a Tesla, Dad?
Absolutely not.
Why?
No. I don't believe in electric vehicles. I think they're absolutely garbage. I think it's the worst thing.
You don't want a grown-up RC car that you can sit?
No. I don't find the attraction to an electric vehicle. I've grown up around
muscle.
I've grown up, especially with Grandpa.
Yeah, muscle.
Former racer, former boats, everything. Mm-hmm. You've been around that power and everything. You will never get the same. Now, there are huge benefits to an electric vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
0 to 60 in like a second.
Yeah, you're literally fucking driving an RC car.
It's instant. It's instantaneous. You hit the gas, you're gone.
Yeah, that's the only.
But that's it. It's the snap power. Other than that, watching them go down a racetrack or something would be cool. Like they do it, the electric bikes, everything. That's cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
But for me to actually go out and look and buy an electric vehicle, it'll never happen. I can't haul my trailers. I can't.
You wouldn't get you an electric Hummer?
I wouldn't, like the F-150, the new Lightning.
They did do the EV.
The EV, I think it's the Lightning, not the former Lightning that was actually a real truck.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't get, my brain doesn't comprehend with an electric truck that I can drive for 300 miles. I have to stop and sit at a come and go or some fancy electric, like,
Yeah, and the thing is like when you're talking about a truck and you're hauling it, most of the time, obviously there's times where you're hauling shit in a city that's gonna have those, but for the most part, I know for us, like practical use would be like taking shit up into the mountains or out on like you're taking a camper out camping.
mm-hmm,
So the ready availability of one of those EV ports is slim to none.
mm-hmm,
So you're basically banking on one gas station owner decided he wanted to be fucking hip in the middle of nowhere and invest 40,000 into this fucking plug-in port that's going to get used every so often. Like
right.
it's not going to be a common
And
thing.
it's with, you have that one guy out there, but he doesn't have the electric power to get the charger. What do they run it on? A diesel generator.
Mm-hmm.
At that point,
You're basically well. That's even
you're trying to nullify like buying the
mm-hmm.
bucket of fries, but hey, I got a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
It doesn't equal out. It's irrelevant. So
Yeah, well, and it's the thing. That's the thing all the way through and through throughout the entire procedure of an electric vehicle. Is it's like, oh, cool, you're plugging it in at your house. How's your house getting power? The coal factory that's fucking 300 miles from here.
Right.
That's burning like not biodegradable fuel. That's
Mhm.
bad for, and the other thing is, we use this woke term all the fucking time, but when you really come to the thought of it, you're really not that woke if you're like, oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna get a Tesla because it's better for the planet. Cool, yeah. You know how it becomes better for the planet? When
Not being dull.
when the government decides when and where are you gonna fucking go and whether or not you can go there at all.
And they've got a big, and I want to say a big thumb pushing down on this situation because they're trying to force. Hence why. Now I understand that there was an accident at Suncor, our local
Yeah, the power
refinery and
plant.
everything,
Mhm.
and they had to shut down for this period of time. Hence why gas prices are going up because they do create only 30% of our gas sales. Everything else is shipped in.
Yeah,
Like they have, I think there's a few. I think one's Growing Dyke. It's out by Grandma and Grandpa's.
yeah,
It's a
Grondike.
transfer,
Yep.
and then they deliver, so on and so forth.
Mhm.
They're not solely just based to go to Suncor. They bring fuel in, everything else like that. Um, I don't understand why we have the highest gas prices in the surrounding states right now. Like we are the most expensive.
Are we really?
Yeah, it was on the news this morning that like we are the most expensive. Like Colorado's gas prices are ridiculous to everybody else's.
Oh fuck yeah! I mean,
And it like you're out of town all the time, so you get to see.
oh, I get to see. And the thing is it's like, because I go to these places, and a common myth I've learned, and part of this is from grandma and grandpa, but you would expect you go into the mountains, gas is going to become more expensive because it's not as readily available to those kinds of institutions, I guess you could put it. Like it's harder to get fuel up into Buena Vista and Fairplay and shit like that because you got to go through the passes and you got to
Right,
take
right.
into consideration travel and whether or not it's actually worth it. So you would anticipate the gas would be more expensive out there than it is in the city. Well, I've noticed the last few times I've gone into places like Farmington, New Mexico, where you're taking 285 and US 60 East the entire fucking way out there, and you're passing these gas stations in rural Colorado. It's like 384 a fucking gallon, 389 a gallon, 391 a gallon. You go out there, it's like 264. When growing up, gas was 264 in the city, 384 in the mountains.
Yeah.
And like I've gone into like Guyman, Oklahoma. I damn near had a heart attack last time I was in Guyman. It was $1.78 a gallon.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, dude.
That was in when I was growing up. Like $1.78 was like your super touristy towns, like Sedona, Arizona's, and
L.A.,
LA's, and the Estes Parks. Where it's an actually touristy place to where to go.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, why is it so expensive here? Where they're going to do it because it's a tourist spot.
Mm-hmm.
They can get the compensation to where
Yeah,
you know,
the people that are going to that gas station have no qualms spending $1.78 on a gallon of gas
right,
at that time. Whereas
grand.
now, your $1.78 hits and the gas station's out of gas in a matter of minutes because you're getting grandparents and all these like everybody who knows everybody is like, dude, there's a gas station off so and so that's selling gas $1.78. Like you got to come and get it before it ain't here no more.
Yeah,
And then it causes so much weird shenanigans that goes on.
you get lines. You get lines forever.
Mm-hmm.
I bought gas at Sam's this morning, $3.58.
Fuck.
I was like, there's no reason. I
Yeah.
mean, and granted, it was cheaper in town,
Mm.
but $3.58 is not cheap.
No, you're buying
and
a
then
fucking
when you look
gallon
at
of milk.
diesel, and yeah, exactly. And diesel, there should be no reason why diesel is more expensive than gas, by any means.
Have you seen diesel be more expensive? Oh, it has.
I've watched
it
diesel
has
get up to
been.
almost $6 a gallon, and guess who owns a diesel truck?
Oh, is your truck diesel?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I go when I'm out on the road because we obviously we're in a lot of like Loves and Flying J's and
Mhm.
Pilots and shit like that, and we go in and I never pay attention to the price because it's not coming out of my wallet, it's not coming out of my check. I don't care. It's my means to an end per
Mhm.
se, and I see it and I'm like, okay, I don't have an 80-gallon tank. Like I'm a 16-footer. Like I have no reason to have an 80-gallon fucking tank.
Mhm.
I've probably got, if I was to guess, probably a 50-gallon tank, 60-gallon tank.
Yeah, you probably got about 25, 30 maybe.
Maybe I don't know the exact
What's next time?
specs. Yeah, I'll look. And the last time I went, I was in Brush. I was coming back from basically Julesburg, and I stopped at the Loves in Brush, and I was like, oh my god, these guys are paying $700-800 a fucking fill up, and then you got to run Def through it, and Def's not cheap either.
No.
Def's like fucking $5-6 a gallon where I'm going.
Yeah. Or you get the gallon jugs and they've got them on sale,
Mm-hmm.
15, $17, whatever.
Yeah.
That's like 2.5 gallon jug or whatever.
Yeah,
And it's stupid.
it's fucking asinine, and the thing that incentivizes people to get into Teslas and these fucking Volts, the Chevy Volts, and all these EVs is because you're incentivized through basically a tax kickback. Hey, you buy this, we'll drop the price $50,000 or $6,000. You buy it. You're basically not you and your immediate impact are not affecting global warming or climate change by any means. If you make some use of that, you're just kicking it to a different person, whether or not they're polluting.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, I don't know how much you read into at some point the government's going to take full fucking advantage of the fact that they can, if they so choose, decide where everybody goes in an EV. Like, oh, you want to go to the grocery store today? Not really feeling it. We're not going to let you go there. They have the kill switch to basically dictate where the fuck you go and when you go there. I mean, it's basically the same thing they were trying to instate when the pandemic hit. Can't go here, can't go there, can't go here, can't go there. Well, why? Well, because it's ravaging people. How is it ravaging people, though? Like, you look at the numbers and the statistics. I know you and I spoke about this when everything was first going on. Influenza killed more people in a shorter time span than COVID did the entire so-called pandemic that hit.
Mm-hmm.
That ceased operation for an entire fucking planet. Why? Like, why? You're not exposing anybody to the herd immunity.
Mm-hmm.
You're not exposing anybody. The only way, I mean, doctors talk about it all the time. The only way you're going to be able to fight diseases and transmittable sicknesses and all these different things is if you're exposed to them. Like, you're exposed to the flu when you get a flu shot every year.
Exactly. Which I think is still a sham. I think it's just, I think flu shots, to me personally, I've never been one race out and get it. I know mom and dad, or grandma, grandpa, and mom and dad get them and everything, but I don't see the
Yeah, but
I don't see the benefit of, like, I understand snake bite. Snake bites you, has venom. You have to go in, part of the antibiotic is part of the venom.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has to counteract. I get that part.
Mm.
I can't wrap my head around. I purposely want to go get the flu today. I'm going to go to the Walgreens.
Yeah, I want to
Rite
make
Aid,
sure I don't get a bad
doctor's
flu.
office, whatever. So I'm going to go get the flu so I don't get the flu. What?
Mm-hmm. It's a weird thing, but
I've had the coronavirus.
you had the vid.
I had the vid. I got it before COVID was actually a thing.
Oh,
They
okay.
called it SARS-2 influenza B at the doctor's office. It knocked my dick in the dirt. Like it put me in a hurting.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me a magic little pill. Here, take this. Now that pill has class action lawsuits against it for giving people extreme anxiety, other health problems, and so on and so forth. That was pretty awesome. Thanks. I really enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I probably have had coronavirus multiple times. I wake up one morning, I got the cough, got the sniffles, body aches. I'm going to go about my day.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, the whole locking myself in a house. I grew up that you were sick. If you're able to work, you work.
Yep.
If you're sick, you're sick.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. Like if you are legitimately sick and you're going to take the day, you stay at home, you get better, boom, done. 5 days.
Yeah, necessary. Well, because what was it when it first started? It was a
14
necessary
days.
14-day.
6 foot distance, 14
6 foot
days, cover your face, do whatever, gloves. I still watch people drive around with gloves and masks on their own cars. Power to you. Good for you. You're taking it. You're an extremist.
Mm-hmm.
But
See, because when everything happened, I will say I did kind of permeate towards the idea of, okay, we need to do I can't even, social distancing and the masks and all this fun bullshit. And then eventually I got to a point where I'm like, okay, I worked at Rep Masters. There were the necessary safety precautions, but basically we played it as it was a normal, like every fucking, like a normal day.
mm-hmm.
We don't need to wear, you guys don't need to wear masks. If you wear masks, that's your decision.
Mm-hmm.
And I came into contact with some dirty ass people, and I'd go home, and not a worry in the goddamn world. And eventually I got to a point where I was fed up. Like, this shit's asinine. What's the point in this?
Yeah.
Like, why am I having to social distance, and I can only go to the grocery store these days, and I can only buy this much of that? Like, since when did I conjoin to a communist conglomerate? Like,
Exactly. And I worked for a former company that, plumbing supplies,
mm-hmm.
and they would get physically upset.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a plumber. I literally deal with human waste on any given day,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't wear a mask. Half of them don't wear gloves. I mean,
That's
fecal
just
fingers
gross.
everywhere.
Eee.
Yeah, like I know where your hands have been, but
Mhm.
most of those guys, and they would tell you probably today that they were like, "Yeah, I probably got sick, didn't know it, just went about my day."
It's
And
the
then
same shit.
it's the same thing. There's a reason why people do what they do,
Mm-hmm.
and the government's always going to stand over you like Big Brother and just try to drive you in the ground like a nail.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is what we do. This is how we're going to do it. No, I'm an individual.
Yeah, I give you the power that you so choose to yield.
Yeah, and it's getting worse and worse to where the things that they're doing now, and they're blatant. It's not like back in like early government, like you see, blue book stuff and deep ops, CIA
Yeah.
crap where it was all hidden and everybody's like, "Ooh, I'm worried about it."
Yeah, there were the select few people that were considered kooks at the time because it was like for X, Y, and Z, whatever example you want to use, it was
Mhm.
like somebody knew that no, that's Big Brother.
Yeah.
That's
Now they're just openly like, "This is what we're doing," and they don't care who knows. Like
Yeah,
they do it, and everybody's like, "Okay, I guess we're just gonna have to follow the rules." The whole electric car thing, like they're just pushing it. Okay, there's a reason why. Back to the conversation earlier about truckers, or why they put up the fight, because an electric semi is not going to haul your produce, and they're not going to be able to do 400 miles stop, 400 miles stop.
Mm-mm.
There's guys that go from East Coast to West Coast
In a
hauling.
matter of fucking 4 days, mind you.
Yeah, in 4 days. You're talking now weeks, which means all your perishables, everything else, they're garbage. There's a reason that, like, I think a lot of the government thing with the eggs
Mm-hmm.
and everything else, like, it's just a revolving. Are you sure? You okay? All right.
I don't know what's
It,
coming
it
over
just
me.
it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's just like, okay. At some point, somebody's got to stand up and put up a fight and be like, we're not doing this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then we consider the outsiders. Like, oh, I can't believe you're not conforming. Well, there's a reason why I'm still an individual, and this is how I believe, and this is a reason why I do the things that I do, and I'm not forcing my ideal on you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this is how I'm doing with my family,
Mm-hmm.
and my family thinks the same way, and their families, and so on and so forth. Extension to the point where all those families finally get together and they're like, enough's enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but and then it sounds cultish. It sounds like, we're, doing something different,
Mm-hmm.
and we're the bad people. So it's.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad you brought it up in that light because it does come across. So I'll give a little bit of background information. I did not share your beliefs at all growing up. Like when it came to, like, and I don't want to say at all. I would say when it comes to like politics
Mm-hmm.
and stuff along those lines, like politics, government, religion, so on and so forth. Although we're really similar now. I feel like when it comes to all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
like I would still consider myself bipartisan, but I have a heavy influence from the Republican Party.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas growing up, I was like almost could be considered like a steadfast Democrat. Like no, 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 no. And it was a very unique transition because you go from being in a time where government was so volatile with the Trump administration because it was like you love him or you hate him. There is no in between when it came to Trump.
Yeah.
And or so I thought at the time because of where my allegiance was at the moment. And
Mm-hmm.
it's this crazy concept that like kind of still baffles me that like government almost feels like you're picking a team or you're picking a tribe, like a village, and you're willing to go to war over your beliefs that when you really sit back and like consider it, you don't really share all that many beliefs
Mm-hmm.
with either party. Like it doesn't matter which way because for me, like I said, I'm bipartisan, heavy Republican influence. I agree with the socioeconomic beliefs of the Republican Party,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes to like social activism and rights and stuff like that, and the heavy influence I feel like certain religions play on the Republican Party, I don't agree with like whatsoever. I would say I identify more with like how the Republicans view like the social side of things, like activism and involvement. But then you realize it's all fucking fugazi.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's all fugazi.
Like across the board, like I'm a steadfast, and I believe in the Republican Party.
Mm.
I believe there's a lot of, excuse me, good things.
Mm.
There's a lot of great things, but there's a lot of garbage,
Mm.
and a lot of the garbage is what's focused on.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
See, we're just giving it back and forth to each
Yeah,
other. We're just gonna play catch with it.
Um, it was a chew crumb.
Oh, yeah. Take that right to the gulag. That.
But I think that I grew up in a Democratic house until the man himself was finally chosen, and Ronald Reagan.
Okay, I was confused on the man himself.
I grew up in the era with Ronald Reagan.
Mm-hmm.
By far, great things have been done, good things have been done, and then there was a lot of stuff that would be like
What year was his administration in play?
80. You caught me off guard.
Sorry.
I'd have to look it up on a phone, and I'm like, whatever.
Mm.
And 80s were my prime. Like it's, I was looking at like how the world changed and everything, and how everything was done, and it was like, wow, this is really good. And then I didn't, being that young, I was never in politics or anything. But I saw the change, and the change was good.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, you start fumbling over and you seeing all, and it's just one guy after another is doing something, gets his hand caught in the cookie jar, and then I'm sorry, and everybody's like, yeah, it's all right. And then it's now played up to a point where, like, Trump gets in office, and it's like, Trump,
Yeah.
and everybody goes friggin' crazy. And I'm like, I'm one of those people. I'm like, hell yeah, Trump is doing, this is the guy. This is the guy that's going to change everything, going to do it right, and everything. And from day one, as soon as he took office, that guy got beat up. He was like,
yeah, he
was the fat, ugly kid that just got picked on every day. And I hate to put that in preference because, but he just got beat up every day.
Oh.
He got swirlied. He got wet. You know what I mean?
I mean, you were talking about a guy that got into office, and within, what was it? Shit. No more than 3-4 months, they were already shouting from the fucking high hills, impeachment, trying to nail him on tax evasion and they tried everything under the sun.
And the whole part, he would stand up there. He was steadfast. He was doing things right. He was like, look, there's a big drug issue coming in from the south. We're going to put up a giant wall. And he started on it, and he was doing this and that. He did the Keystone Pipeline. He was like, we're going to be America.
America, bitch.
Yeah, he was A+ America. Yep. He was all for it, and he was doing great. And then anybody and everybody that he had pissed off in any point in his life were there lined up with a baseball bat to take their swing, man.
Yep.
And it just, I watched this and I'm like, how can we be so different but all the same? Like we're all the same. We're all people. We're all humans. We're all, this is what we're doing. And it was just like you went from 0 to 60, and it was in a negative way. But there was there was so much goodness that was coming out of it. He was creating jobs, and he was doing the right. And then you had other parties that were just like, no. You need to slow down, pal. Like, and he was like, no, I'm going to go over. I'm picking this guy. I'm going to kick his ass, and we're going to call it Moab, and he's going to do it right. He's going to start taking the knees out of these people that were, and then it just all fell apart. It just like the wheels came off and just, we went to hell in a handbasket, and then we got Sleepy Joe. Yeah.
What did they say? Go Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. Yeah. Woo, yay. This guy is absolute.
So this is a funny thing. It take more of like a cynical approach to it. I find it hilarious because it's one of the few times in my lifetime where it was like you had two of the most entertaining presidents of all time.
Oh yeah.
Right after each other. Like Trump, for all his good, bad, and indifferent.
Yeah.
You turned on the TV to see what this guy was up to. I mean, this man is Kobe Bryant fucking paper towel rolls to hurricane victims, and he grabbed her by the pussy and doing all this shit. But then he, like you said, he's looking out for the little guy. Gas prices had hit an all-time low. Yes, the pandemic hit, and that played a role in it. However, what never got taken into consideration was, like you said, the Keystone Pipeline was in progress, and he was starting to make it to where everybody, all of his cohorts were like, well, why are we paying $5 a gallon for gas that we have
and look at all the jobs,
barrels,
like
everywhere in the United States, in the continental United States, and including Alaska, for what it's worth, we can make our own supply of fossil fuels and be able to put us where we need to be economically in the States, but also on a global aspect as well. And so he was looking out for the little guy. Shit had hit an all-time low. Jobs had hit an all-time high. He was doing things that we hadn't seen before, but nobody could take his straightforward, I don't give a shit approach to politics.
Yeah, like
He wasn't doing backdoor deals. He wasn't playing sneaky, shady meetings with fucking Kim Jong-un or Putin or whoever the fuck you want to use as the example.
Right.
He was doing those meetings right in front of your face. Like,
yeah, he'd be like, "Hey, this is what's happening this week on Trump." Dun dun dun. He would be like, "I'm meeting with this guy. We're gonna have a sit down, and it's a no bullshit conversation. Not what can you do for me? What can you and what laptop do you have? You know, it's you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
hey, where's the cocaine and hookers?
Yep.
You know, it was straightforward. It was a deal. Bring in the news cameras. Let's sit down. We're gonna hammer this shit out. And he was no bullshit.
Yep.
And then
You got Sleepy Joe
And then you
fucking
got-
snorting dandruff off a kid's skull, like
yeah, like
they're walking into a bush at the White House.
like he's the only guy I have ever known to literally trip going upstairs 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Like that's a is that a feat? Is that just kind of like one of those like I'm gonna put that on my resume?
Fuck yeah.
Like the guy is a buffoon. Like he is a true puppet.
Oh, 100.
There was a reason in the Obama administration that the Obama administration shit the bed. Like they created a lot of bad things. Who was his right hand guy?
Oh,
Dun, dun,
Byron.
dun. Let's go, Brandon.
Byron.
I mean, that was a fuel situation back then where they were like, "Hey, we're going to ramp up offshore drilling and everything." And then next thing you know, gas prices go up. Guess who steps back into office? Gas prices go up. Everything, inflation, and all this other stuff, and people see it, but they just okay. They don't fight about it. They don't that $8 eggs and $7 milk and
$5 gas.
and $5 gas, and then obviously pandemic hits, but everybody took the pandemic in a different way, and they just took advantage of that, and was just that whole thumb on. Yep.
Well, and that's the funny thing. The thing that is kind of baffles me when it comes to like Americans today is there's so much division and just overall like disdain with one another, and it really bothers the dog shit out of me, and a lot of it has to go back to like the government's role in how bad everything's gotten in such a short span of time, because Biden, like you said, he's a puppet. I'm sorry. This man can't read a fucking teleprompter and remember what he needs to be saying. Like, it's right in front of him. He goes up and has a paper on his little stand, and he's got a teleprompter telling him what to look like, what to say, how to say it. They are telling him what to do, and he still fucks that up.
Yeah.
And it's not like Trump where it was like, oh, no, you could just tell this guy doesn't have a teleprompter.
He just goes off the hinges, and I mean, he'd go off the hinges, but he told you right. He told you straightforward, like he was and that's where that arrogant brash, I mean, there was arrogant brashness in there.
Yeah, but you're running the most powerful country on the face of the fucking planet, and you are the one that calls the shots. I'm sorry, contrary to popular belief, unless you're fucking Jesus or Yahweh or Mahatma Gandhi, you get into a position, you are the president, you are the commander-in-chief of the single mightiest military force this planet has ever seen and probably will ever see. You mean to tell me you wouldn't have a stick up your ass and be like, I'm the shit?
Yeah. And as soon as Trump left office, what happened?
Putin started Putin.
Yeah, Putin was Putin. He was, and he was like, "Psst, I got Sleepy Joe, no big deal. Oh, hey, by the way, we're gonna pull everybody out of Afghanistan. Leave the hardware; it'll be all right." What?
Well, the fucking thing was like, so kind of going to Mike Baker. Shout out Mike Baker. he was talking about how quick the whole
Joe Rogan.
withdrawal. Shout out Joe, not Sleepy Joe, the real Joe.
No. The real.
And he was talking about how fast their departure from Afghanistan, how fast that all played out and unfolded. I mean, they were getting information from their in deep guys that were in Afghanistan and in those areas, and they were like, dude, this shit's about to go up. Like they're hearing murmurs that we're about to leave and they're about to jump on a sleeping bear.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, this bear is in hibernation. Like we're not going to play that shit with them, because had it been Trump, yeah, Trump had always mentioned we want to get our guys back behind our lines. Like, let's get them home. Let's get them out of there.
Right.
But you know damn good and well, if what played out in the Biden administration had played out during the Trump administration, that would not have happened. Trump would have been like, fuck that. We're sending backup. We're handling this and then we'll leave. We're not going to leave on unfinished business, because then the people that are in those areas look at it and go, oh, they're weak. Let's hit them while they're weak. The only time you retreat is when you're low on numbers, you're low on resources, you know you're outmanned, outmatched, outgunned.
Mm-hmm.
We're not outmanned, outgunned, outmatched anywhere.
Right.
So now you're giving them this false sense of security, like, oh, yeah, we can go and take them. Luckily, we haven't had to go through another, Twin Towers situation.
Right.
But what's to say that doesn't happen? You're building the confidence in these enemy countries, and eventually they're going to seep in through. And we're already going through it with TikTok. I mean, you could laugh. It's serious.
Yeah,
like,
and I'm not a TikToker guy. I
have you heard what they're like? Why there is such a qualm with TikTok in America?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so there's been reports that have been, and you can look all this information up. I don't have the numbers readily available off the top of my noggin, but basically, TikTok is now banned on any federal property, because they are able to use so basically when you download TikTok, it asks for permission through your settings, allow access to your microphone and your camera roll and location. And they say that so that way they can give you the videos that are most relatable in your area, what you talk about, what you like.
Okay.
It's in an effort to make it more compatible with the user. But what the people aren't reading in the fine print is, once they have access to that microphone, they're not just using the microphone when you're on TikTok. You're in a government building. Let's say you're one of the heads of XL Energy, and you're laying out a game plan as to how you're going to continue to create more power, more efficiently, cleaner. Well, guess what? China's now listening to you have this conversation.
Ooh.
And so it's banned on federal property. It's starting to become banned in certain public property. And Trump, remember when this was coming over here at the very, very tail end of his run as president, he was like, "Oh fuck no, this isn't coming here. Like I already know how this is gonna go," because they had already started stealing shit from Google underneath their noses. They were sending interns from China.
Mm-hmm. I do remember that.
And we're stealing all the shit off of Google's hard drives and shipping it back to their president.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of the people, and again, this is credit to Mike Baker on letting people know this, most people peg Putin and Russia to be the next great foe of the United States. That's fucking hilarious. It's China. China's coming.
Oh,
China has been here.
Yeah.
And
they got their little weather balloon cruising around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do you have this weather balloon? What? Get this out of here. You're in now our space. So there's free space, and then this is our space.
Exactly.
Free space is out there.
Yeah.
You're now on our space. We're going to take it down. Well, that's an act of war. No, it's not. You
sending it here.
You sending it here was an act of treason. So we're going to shoot it down. Boom. Get it out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the pictures this morning of what it was?
Mm-mm.
It was a balloon with a little takeout box. I'm just kidding.
You had me there for a minute. I was like, wow.
No, I saw that on Facebook this morning. That was actually kind of funny. I reposted it. No big deal. You don't need to be coming over here snooping, taking up in Montana, taking pictures, doing your,
Whatever the fuck it is you're doing.
whatever you're doing with it. That should give a redneck a 50 BMG. He'll take it out of the sky. Oh, I don't know what happened.
Yep.
Let it crash. Let it burn. Do whatever. Then you pick up all the wreckage. Then you haul it back, and then we'll inspect it, and make sure it's all.
What the hell's going on?
Seeing what the hell's going on exactly, and then we'll play the same game.
Yeah, but when you have this issue with that we currently have going on in today's government, and this is everyone's in cahoots with everybody. I mean, it's well documented. Hunter is in Putin's pocket. Like, Hunter works for Putin.
Oh, absolutely.
You mean to tell me the president's son is working for the fucking president of Russia and he's not in cohorts with Biden himself?
Yeah.
Like, come on, that's a fucking joke.
And people are like, okay.
Like, oh, why can't what? My son works for one of my enemies. Like, I don't see the big deal.
What?
We're talking exorbitant amounts of money that this kid is making, quite literally doing nothing but spilling the fucking beans. Granted, both way, I would imagine. I would fucking hope so.
Yeah.
But who's to say he is? And I was actually just telling people about this. I almost certain you don't know about this. So remember back after World War II, they started integrating
it was like yesterday.
German and Russian scientists into organizations like NASA and the CIA and the FBI and shit like that, Homeland Security. Well, there was a guy that came from Russia that I believe got integrated into Homeland Security or the CIA, one of the two. And he went on to live television, basically like Jimmy Kimmel kind of status, and came out and basically told the American public in 1967, I believe it was, basically said, okay, this is our game plan, okay? We're going to make you think that we're coming here as good citizens and that we wanted to leave the KGB, the Soviet Union, Nazi Germany. Like, okay, cool. We're going to come out here and we're going to make it look like we're changed men, that we didn't want to be a part of this, all that bullshit. We're going to integrate into your society, but then we're going to start laying seeds. We're going to start laying seeds and we're going to start manipulating massive media messages into almost this weird, don't trust the government, don't trust anybody, but trust us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we say we're your government, the fuck we are, because another thing that plays into that, they're playing the long game. They're playing for the homeland. They're not playing for us.
No.
You're having a switch hitter come and play baseball left-handed. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, you're not, why are you doing this? Like, why was it a good idea? Yes, they're fucking brilliant. They've also been ingrained in communism and mass destruction and a singular world power. Like, you think that's a good idea to have over here?
Oh, yeah, sure.
And he literally comes out and says it on fucking, on mass media, and everybody was you can literally listen to the crowd laughing at him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just sitting there with the biggest shit-eating grin ever because he's like, oh, you think this is a joke?
Yeah, like, you guys can play it off as a joke, but in the long run, it's slowly happening to the point where people, and it's just it's an out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
It's like, well, I don't think that way, so it's not going to happen.
Or it doesn't affect me immediately, so why should I worry myself?
Right. Like, by the time this happens, I'll already be dead or in the ground or whatever. Whoa, 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 whoa. You do know that you have extended family, right? Like, you have kids. Like, you need to start getting them rolling and everything. And that's why when you boys were growing up and everything, I was just like, have a strong work ethic, have strong beliefs. Now, whether it be my beliefs or you've taken a part of my beliefs and made them your own beliefs, and you boys have. And but now as you guys grow up, you're like, there's a lot of things that you're like, yep, you were right. And then there was a lot of things, well, you were a little crazy there for a while, but I see where you were going with it. I did my own twist. That's part of being an individual, and everything. But you are now starting to see all these things starting to play out. And you're like, Why didn't you guys nip it in the bud when you had the chance?
Exactly.
And it's because of the government going, no, you can't.
Yep. And it's because like there's so many different, like the common issue with it. Like I'm not gonna go. Do you know who Alex Jones is?
Gesundheit. No.
Okay. First of all, I think you would fucking find him absolutely hilarious. But he's another one of Joe Rogan's friends. He was also a friend of the Trump administration.
Okay.
Did a lot of work within the Trump administration, and is actually currently going through like a $5 billion lawsuit at the current moment,
Wow.
something along those lines. So basically, now I don't agree with a lot anything that's about to come out of my mouth. I do not agree, and I need to make that crystal fucking clear because I don't have $5 billion and I do not feel like getting roped into a lawsuit. He's currently in lawsuit because he said Sandy Hook was staged. Sandy Hook never happened.
That's that.
That's like that super deep, like off the cuff,
and it has to deal with kids
shit.
And everything.
Yeah,
now,
and
whether everyone sees it now, as far as we'll go, like it's like conspiracy theory, like all that back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
We've never been to the moon. I'm going to say that out loud.
You don't think we have?
Don't believe we have been to the moon. I really don't.
Okay.
I think it was a complete Capricorn 1 situation to where this was fully. I know there's a lot of people where like they've had their parents that worked for like Lockheed Martin and everything, and they were like, they couldn't tell about what they were doing, but they were like, we've been to the moon. I don't believe so, because if we had been to the moon,
why haven't we been since?
Why haven't we been back? In 1969, or 67.
I think 69 was
69.
correct.
I think that was right. Even my mom, grandma, asked grandma. She was like, I was in the height of, I don't believe so. I don't believe it. I know that we have been to space. I know that we have the International Space Station. Everybody goes up there, hangs out,
so
has
you
a great
believe
weekend,
in the space
whatever.
station. You just don't believe that.
I don't believe we've been to that next step to actually land on the moon.
Okay. That takes my shock and awe away a little bit, because I thought you meant like, no, motherfucker, we ain't even left the stratosphere. But
No. I believe that we have crested that. I mean, obviously between, the Amazon guy.
Oh, Jeff Bezos
And all of his, that, and then
Virgin Airlines
and all these guys where they go up in the stratosphere and they weightless space, and then they come back down. Along with the other rockets that take off and then they land on a specific spot. I'm still a little hesitant on that. I don't think that, but actually landing on the moon, horse shit.
That's actually, I find that highly interesting. Okay.
Because if that was the case, we'd go back and we would venture. Like, all I see here and now on most of the news is like, now they have a satellite that they can look at literally the black potholes on the moon. With a satellite, why don't you jump in one of your $70 billion spaceships and fly up there, land, and go check them out? Like, why on the dark side of the moon? Like, I understand the whole dark side of the moon part of it and everything.
Just seems a little
go
bullshit.
Up there. Just go up there. If we've been there,
why
just go up there and check on the flag at least, like to see if it's still. I know there's no wind, but whipping in the wind, like go up there.
See, that's funny that you bring up the flag, because that's like the biggest point for people that don't believe in us landing in the moon is that fucking flag, because like you said, there is no wind in space, and how the fuck does the flag magically start waving in the wind
right
as soon as camera turns on?
So the lunar lander, the Jeep, the little buggy that they drove around, how'd it get up there?
That's a fair point. It wasn't included.
And if you actually look at the space module that landed, it wasn't hooked on there. It wasn't like there was a Jeep, there was like a car, there was a buggy that was attached to the bottom where they craned it down, they dropped it, they repelled it. It just like did someone leave it up there before us and be like, hey, when you guys get back up here, cruise around in this thing. It's bitching. It doesn't go very fast. You can't jump it because you'll end up out in space.
Yeah, you'll end up in the middle of fucking nowhere.
But how did it get up there? It's not like they landed and then just built it.
Yeah, they were there for like X amount of hours.
They jumps off, woohoo, leaps, and then all of a sudden they jump in a buggy and they take off. Huh?
Yeah. See, okay, so I'm kind of still undecided. I've never really taken a lot of thought into the whole moon landing shit. Like that's just
if you
me
look, there's a lot of
personally.
pictures. Like most of the pictures that are out there that I've seen and everything, they're backwards images of each other. Like they do the whole like they're panning and it's like that's the same picture and you flip back and it's the same picture. They're just backwards.
Yeah, they're just backwards mirror
Like
images.
yeah, and I'm like, well, it makes you wonder on a lot of things. Like the technology back then, it was like 32-bit
Yeah,
Texas Instrument calculator computers like that are running this. We have high-end computer systems. Like we all have cell phones. You guys have watches that do the exact same thing as your cell phone.
Yeah.
I mean, we can do pretty much damn near anything on a computer other than, literally rather than just to feed you. I mean, now they have robots and all this other shit. But for the most part, it's like, why haven't we gone back up there? With all of our technology, with all of
the
everything
money
we
thing
do,
sounds a little bullshit because that's always what you hear from them is, oh, we don't have the money to build a ship. Oh, we don't have
we have to defund NASA and we have to we have to take this money. And I know that they're redoing NASA.
So from my understanding, the big thing for like the race for space back in the 60s and 70s, that was all privatized, government organization run. Now the upside to the defundation or the defunding of NASA and other space exploration agencies, the benefit of that is you have these guys like I would say singularly Musk. I would say Elon is the only one that actually genuinely has a plan, has a mission, and
I think he wants to go back home.
I'm fucking thank you. I'm certain that motherfucker is not a person. Like that is not a human being. There is no fucking way that like you obviously again, I know you don't watch a whole lot of podcasts, but if you ever get the opportunity, watch him with Rogan on Rogan's podcast when he's smoking weed. It is the most bizarre shit you will ever see because you're literally it almost feels like you're talking to like an android.
I don't think he's an android.
I think he's alien, but the way he talks and the like his facial features, and they say, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not gonna go there because I don't have enough knowledge in it. But basically, like the shit he does, you're like, I don't care what you have going on mentally, you're just not with us. Like you're not of us, you're not from us, you're not with us. Like you're just fucking here because he's got planned, like they're publicizing basically the space race. Like, oh shit, you want to go to space? Shit, we won't stop you. If you've got the money and you've got the will and you've got the resources, shit, tear it up, dude. And now you're listening to him like, oh no. We're gonna go to moon. We're gonna go to the moon. We'll be back. Oh, but you think we're just gonna do the same shit we did last time with one and done? No, we're gonna build. Like
and that's the thing.
They're gonna build a city on that bitch.
Why not? Why not move?
And that's the thing.
Why not make it a weekend resort? For
make it fucking Tijuana.
Yeah, make it. Yeah, put a Senior Frogs up there. Fuck, shit. And put a Harley dealership up there. You know damn well the rednecks will go up there then.
Oh, I mean, the funny thing about it too is like the space race. You listen to it in the thralls of history and how competitive it was globally. Like China was trying, the Soviet Union was trying, Germany was trying. Like everybody had a dog in the race. We go to the moon and it was like a drop thing. Like nobody gave a shit about it anymore.
Cool, been there, done that.
China
Mic drop.
Yeah, like fuck you, we beat you, we're done.
Yeah, and that's where my biggest part of it is why'd you just mic drop and then just be like, we're not going back? Like, there ain't shit up there. There ain't no, there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they just went up there and like, we gathered a couple of rocks. We rock hounded for a little bit.
We did our fucking geology.
We did our thing, and then we're out. And then come back home and woo, you know.
Medals.
Because everyone up into the point of like that whole thing, I mean, obviously the astronauts, because of age, have peeled off. But most of the, like, the behind the scenes guys, all the scientists and everybody and all the engineers and everything slowly got picked off one by one on these random acts of unfortunateness.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like killed in a car wreck. Slipped in the shower. You know, they happen. Oh, you know, walking home from the grocery store and magically a bag got on their head. You know, whatever it may have been.
Yeah.
Like, shot and killed. It's all these people that could have said, yeah, we haven't been there.
Well, it's the same thing with, you know Bob Lazar, right? You know who Bob Lazar is?
Yeah.
That's the same shit that's still to this day happens with him.
Yeah.
The only difference was that he became so public, so immediate with his whole experience in Area 51 that they, at that point, it's too fucking obvious. Like, oh, Bob Lazar comes out, starts talking about reconstructing alien vehicles, found dead in a car accident 2 days later. Like, he was saying some shit that was real and you didn't like it and you put a nail in his coffin.
Yeah, the whole, the blue book and everything, like, all that. Man, folks, if you don't believe in it, believe in it. There's other people here. They come here frequently. They come to Colorado all the time. They did I believe Fox News did it. There's a place up off 84th and Federal, up by where my aunt and uncle used to live. And they, over the old Stapleton, down into, like,
Arvada area.
Like Arvada, well,
no, because Arvada's a little bit further
it's
south.
more like Lakewood, not Lakewood.
Wheat
like
Ridge?
it's Berkeley. It's like where the Berkeley
yeah.
area is, over by Berkeley Lake. You can actually see from the high point up by the old nunnery.
Oh, okay.
And everything. There's UFOs all day long, just cruising around. And it's not drones. It's not nothing. We've seen them. I've seen them. They're cool. You go up to when we go up to the cabin, you stand out on the front porch, pitch black in the middle of nothing. You can hear the coyotes in the background. You look up, you can watch satellites go over.
Yeah, you can literally
watch a star
see
literally go and take off.
Yep.
You know damn good and well that's not of this.
No. Fuck no.
No. And I believe in UFOs. I love watching UFOs on people who have spoke with them. And like, now there's the diehard freaks. There's the people that are extremists. Like, I believe in what I believe. I know they're here. They've been here. They cruise around. Hence.
Okay, so this is funny.
It's kind of a Men in Black thing, you know,
Yeah,
like, hey, where do you think we got Velcro from? And, you know, bringing microwaves and.
Yeah, well, so this is funny. I'm going to tie this in a little bit to a past episode. If you haven't seen it, I'll show you.
I have. I watched
the part where we're talking about the aliens and the shit.
Yeah.
Okay. If you haven't seen it, viewers, episode 9, the Brocast, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Like, I would say I'm not an extremist, but I have done a shitload of research when it comes to the whole alien thing. I got roped into the alien thing because common sense dictates we're in an ever-growing, ever-expanding at an exponential rate universe. You would have to be dumb as a box of rocks or so fucking arrogant that your head couldn't fit through a door that we're in an ever-changing, ever-expanding, ever-growing, exponential rate expansion universe, and we're the only fucking living organisms in the entire universe that grows quicker than the speed of fucking light. Not happening.
Yeah,
There's no fucking chance. I'm with Rogan on this a little bit, and he says it in a comedic fashion, but I find a lot of reality to it. The aliens came, and I think they've been here the whole time. And I think they saw the incredible rate of growth that Earth had undergone early in human civilization, and then came back one day and was like, what the fuck happened to you guys? Like, and now they just treat the Earth as Tijuana. Like, let's go get some fucking tequila shots and let's fuck a hooker and let's just do dumb shit here.
Oh, that's exactly.
That's
Let's
exactly
just go harvest some farts from somebody, and and see what they already know what we're made of. The Travis Walton thing, Fire in the Sky, awesome.
I never heard of
Oh, the Travis Walton abduction and everything. Like they came, they saw, they take shit, they do everything. Unfortunately, he went through rigmarole to like, hey, I really got abducted. Like this is no bullshit.
this.
There was a logger from, I believe Snowflake Payson, Arizona. Logger doing stuff on the Mogollon Rim, goes out. What's that bright light? Goes out there. Holy crap! Look at that thing. It's flying. Gone. They stole him.
They never came back.
And then a week later, they dropped him off. He went through. They did their whole thing.
Well, and the crazy thing is, you talk to those people that have had those experiences, and I don't know if it's this thing where like the government steps in between, and it's like,
without a
hey,
doubt.
bro, we're gonna fuck you up, like not fuck you up, like we're gonna beat the shit out of you, like we're basically gonna make you a fucking vegetable.
Yeah.
Because you know way too fucking much, and we already know what you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Because you got like the whole Roswell experiences that they got out there. Now, correct me. You're the one that told me about the black box. Is that in Is that in Nevada or is that in is that in New Mexico? Because Roswell's in New Mexico.
Roswell's in New Mexico. We're actually going to try to do the trip this year, do the whole like all the way through, but I think it's in Nevada.
Oh, okay, I thought the black mailbox was in Nevada.
I think it is.
Because a lot of I'm gonna be totally frank here. A lot of my knowledge when it comes to the black mailbox is from the movie Paul. 100%. Like,
oh, absolutely.
It feels like a very accurate representation of what.
And it's funny you say that because when they're doing the whole plotting out, when they're talking about like, yeah, we're gonna go to Roswell and do this and go see the black box, and then they come back through and they actually name drop a town I lived in Arizona, Camp Verde. No big deal.
Oh, they did.
I live there. I still have my driver's license that says Camp Verde, Arizona.
That's fucking awesome.
There is nothing. There is a story behind Camp Verde that back in the 70s that something happened to an individual, unfortunately, and it was like the last hanging of a person there. And I was like, wow.
Like we talking they
back in the 70s they
kind of
hung
thing?
a person, and it's a rumor, but it's like that's everybody that you show. Kingdom of the Spiders was filmed there.
I hated that movie.
You don't like spiders anyway. They don't bother me.
Fuck
Anyway,
no.
back to but yeah, it was they name dropped Camp Verde. I was like, that's pretty awesome. I live there. But no, that's funny that you say Paul, because there is a lot, because
it's got enough information that would stay like that you would feel somewhat comfortable going, I don't know shit about aliens. I'm gonna watch this sci-fi comedy film that's supposed to be taken as an absolute fucking joke, and then you're watching it and you're like, no, that seems pretty legit.
There's a lot of stuff in it that's like the whole Men in Black kind of thing, chasing him down to want to get him back, but he really doesn't. He just wants to go home.
Yeah, he just wants to go home.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Elon Musk is the reason why he's doing it. He wants to just go back home and be like, man, you guys got to come see this place. This place is awesome. These people, they literally worship a plant that you can smoke, and they'll buy electric cars. You're not going to believe it.
Like and so that's the whole, because I'm a deep dive, and so like kind of going into the like how they turn people into vegetables. So I'm almost certain you haven't heard of this either. I don't know what the name of the operation was. I'd have to relook
a lobotomy.
Basically the lobotomy. Yeah, the first, I guess you could say, government documented case of a successful lobotomy was. Marilyn Manson's the one that's in the band, right?
Yeah.
Charles Manson is the first recorded lobotomy, high-profile lobotomy in the government.
Really?
So they found out that he used to frequent brothels and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone that doesn't know the story of Charles Manson, definitely look it up, because it's one of the wildest stories in human history. Like, the guy was fucking insane. But you find out that the reason he was because he was in the know with some very powerful people. He started frequenting brothels, and they figured, Nobody really gives a shit about this guy. He knows some shit that he probably shouldn't. Let's test out our first. Let's see what we can use to basically lobotomize an adult person.
Mm-hmm.
So they started giving him exorbitant amounts of LSD. They were spiking his stuff with LSD while he was at these brothels. And basically, like the one-way glass,
Mm-hmm.
they would put one-way glasses in the rooms that he would frequent in brothels, and there would literally be scientists on the other side of the wall watching him get dosed up with LSD. And they basically fried his fucking brain from so much acid increase
Mm-hmm.
that he just became lobotomized, and that's why he started fucking killing people and going on his rampages and all that wild shit that he was doing, was because of the LSD that they were dosing him in the brothels that he would go to in California.
It makes sense because they did the same style of shit in Vietnam,
Mm-hmm.
and do the whole Jacob's Ladder thing where it just dope them up and then here's a gun, go kill.
Yep.
And like they were taking honest guys that grew up and be like, I'm gonna go join the army, it's part of my duty and everything, and then they dope them up, give them a gun, and be like, go kill.
Do what you were trained to do.
Yeah, go do what you were trained to do, and these guys would just straight up go off hinges,
Mm-hmm.
like stuff that you see in like up to date war movies.
Yeah. Like
Universal Soldier kind of shit, where
mm-mm.
like they die but they keep going.
Yeah, it's the same kind of shit as like, because you can see, and it's no I'm trying to think of the word. It's no coincidence that some of the stuff goes on that goes on, like Charles Manson with the overdosing of LSD and frying his brain. And then you've got the guy, I'm sure you heard about it, back in Florida. Shit, that was back in high school. Fuck, I was probably 15, 16 at the time. The guy that was like biting people's faces off, and they thought it was a zombie outbreak because he was so high on bath salts.
Yes.
That like they were putting bullets into him, and he was still running through that shit and fucking people up and like jumping over 20-foot fences and like ripping through people.
It makes me
Grandma.
Speak of the devil. No, and so and then there was the big thing with bath salts. Don't do bath salts. Don't let your kids get bath salts. And it was like, okay, cool. Nobody was giving their fucking kids bath salts before you said don't give them bath salts.
Yeah, just the same thing as like one little kid, their mom catches them eating a Tide Pod, and next thing you know, oh my God, I can't believe it, my baby was eating a Tide Pod. Some 14-year-old idiot was like, oh, you can eat Tide Pods? Don't go on national news and say, don't do this.
Because then you're igniting every fucking teenager who's already rebellious as it is
To go
to
eat
go,
Tide.
I wonder what happens if I eat a fucking Tide Pod. Or I
Yeah.
wonder what happens if I do the COVID challenge and I'm licking fucking toilet seats trying to get COVID.
Right. And then the whole licking the toad. Like that was that was before my time, but like licking toads and stuff like that it just progresses. It keeps going. It's like
you
don't
just
go on national media, regardless of whatever platform it is, and go, don't do this.
You just threw me the greatest alley-oop in all of podcast history. You know what licking the toad, like why they were doing that shit?
Get high.
Yeah, but do you know how high? Do you know like what they were doing?
See, I was never a get high guy.
Okay.
So I don't know. I was always
I'll tell you.
I'm the boozy guy. You ask me about booze and I'd be like, there's reason why you do what you do when you're on booze.
And each type of booze
And
leaves
each
something
booze
different.
is totally different.
Mhm.
Like there's a difference between a champagne drunk and a wine drunk.
And a tequila drunk
And a
whiskey
tequila drunk. Now, you don't, tequila is like, it's probably the closest
I'm on
thing.
the highway to hell. That's
Exactly.
tequila.
That's tequila. That's like, you're dancing with the devil and you will get your toes stepped on. Like, it
It's
is
fucking
no
a
joke.
blast, though.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's so much fun.
Oh, it's terrible.
No, but the licking the toad thing, because correct me if I'm wrong, this is more your time. That was like a big Ungrateful Dead thing, wasn't that?
Yes, there was licking the toad and then like letting your rye bread mold
And eating that shit?
and eating it. And
Okay, so
and it's
the rye bread, I don't know much about the rye bread. I would assume it's got something to do with magic mushrooms. They
That and the
obviously
magic
didn't know,
mushrooms.
they didn't know a whole lot about it back then, like
And it stinks.
psilocybin
Have you ever
mushrooms.
been around a guy that actually does like magic mushrooms and boils
I've
them?
never done magic
It
mushrooms. I've never.
Stinks, man.
Well, yeah, well, that's because it tastes. You're eating fucking fungus. What do you expect? But like the licking the toad thing. So I'll give you a little bit of personal insight. I actually plan on doing the toad. Like I want to do the toad.
No, please don't.
And
You don't tell a parent like I'm gonna go lick a toad.
oh, I've told everyone I know I want to do the toad. But you don't lick the toad. See, that's why they were fucking crazy for that. Because so basically, dimethyltryptamine
Gesundheit.
is shout out Joe Rogan. Dimethyltryptamine, I first learned of it in an interview with Kid Cudi and Joe Rogan where they talk about what DMT is. So basically, the process you get DMT, from my rough understanding, listening to them, is there's a desert toad native to, I want to say, Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada, and a bit of Colorado. Holy hell! Look at what you're doing over there. You're gonna need to tighten the knob. Yep. Just clamp down on that.
Are we good?
We're good.
Are we good?
Yeah, and actually, you did it in a way where it didn't peak the volume. Look at you go.
You know,
Natural.
I'm a natural at this.
No, so there's a toad native to those regions, that region of the United States, and maybe others that I'm unaware of. But basically, when the toad is confronted, it secretes a toxin, like and what's in a very important chemical in that toxin is dimethyltryptamine. And so what people found out is if you confront the frog, scare it, it secretes the poison on the back. You take a piece of glass and you just kind of scrape the toxins off onto another dish.
Mm-hmm.
Let the dish sit in the sun until it like crystallizes into like a powder, basically.
Okay.
Throw it in a pipe. You take the first hit, blow out like you're smoking weed or a cigarette. Take another hit. By the time you blow out that second hit, you literally, like I could do it right in front of you, and I could have my eyes open looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see anything that's around me. Like I literally is basically your consciousness is ripped out of your body and sent on a fucking spaceship into the middle outer space, and you basically are floating in space, talking to. Oh, look at that! Guess who's calling me now? Grandma. And so you like blast off into the center of space. You're sitting there and you're starting to talk to what they consider the DMT elves. And the theory when it comes to the psychologists that look at it is you're actually talking to a different part of your brain that's now firing because you're on DMT.
See, and I'm not a high guy.
So yeah, you're
And
not gonna have any attraction.
If I did
to
something
it.
like that, it would freak me out. I'd probably end up having a heart attack or stroke or something.
That's my biggest concern when it comes to it, because I've done acid. Acid's intense as dog shit, and that's on like the lightest side of the spectrum. If you're doing a proper dosage of LSD, it's a very light considered to DMT. Like if you were gonna go on a scale of 0 to 5, 5 being the worst, LSD's probably 1, magic mushrooms 2, ketamine 4, DMT 17. Like it's so fucking intense, but the thing is, it only lasts for 15 minutes as opposed to
It'd be the worst 15
magic
minutes of my life.
as opposed to like magic mushrooms, which is anywhere from an 8 to 16 hour trip, or LSD, which is again like an 8 to 14 hour trip.
Yeah, and it's just I've seen buddies of mine take acid like when we were in high school, and they have literally ruined the basement in their house.
Oh yeah,
Like they like the floor is lava.
mm-hmm.
There's a giant pink elephant.
Yeah, running around in the fucking room.
Yeah, it's like
I've never the thing for me was like when it came to the hallucinogenics or the psychedelics, however you want to phrase them. I was the guy that was like, I want to get high off my ass and I want to see some wild shit. Like I want to see, because that's all you hear when people are telling you about like
I got high as shit.
I got high as shit, and the walls were looking like they were waves in the ocean, like they're pulsing, and I'm like, yo, I feel like that would be kind of crazy to see. So let me do that. Like, I want to do that. I never got there. Like, I would see, like, a big thing for me was, like, seeing colors, but, like, not in the consensual way that you would, like, think of, where it's like you just see the color. No, you can feel the color. Like, the color is moving towards you. It's a very intense thing. And then I started to have bizarre conversations with the people I was doing it with, or just in my own mind, like, what's time? Like, that was one that I did. It was like maybe 20 minutes into my trip. I just, like, was looking at a clock and was like, what's time? And I shit you not, I sat in a dark room for like 14 hours, just like trying to figure out what is time, who
Yeah.
made the alphabet, why are letters a thing, like, who decides what numbers mean what, like, and I just was fried on the couch, like, nope. But DMT is supposed to be more like mental health oriented, so, like, dealing with a lot of, like, trauma and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the main reason I want to do DMT.
Yeah, no. See, I'll still take my Blantons and double pour and
Yeah.
and just mellow out. I'm all about that. And I know that
Have you smoked weed?
I have smoked weed when I was in high school. Sorry, Mom.
How was it for you?
I didn't enjoy it. I didn't feel like I was supposed to, maybe. It was just one of those, and I smoked a lot of weed. And not a lot of weed, but I was just, my buddies would be like, hey, let's go get some damn skunk weed or, ditch weed or whatever we could. And then my buddy, Matt, his uncle used to grow pot in his little mini bus out in the backyard and everything. Like, he had a busted old little bus that he grew
sounds
weed
like
in.
a story from the 80s. My friend's uncle who lives in a bus behind my mom's house grows weed in it, and it's pretty killer weed.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things, like, it was good weed, but it wasn't my thing. Like, I just didn't, it just wasn't my thing.
That's fair.
And I've tried it. I was like, cool, move on. Broke the mug, burn up the t-shirt, got the sticker, been there, done that. And
Yeah.
I've always been a boozy guy.
Yeah,
My dad was a boozy guy. My stepdad, my mom were boozy people. I grew up in bars, loved to play pool. A lot of,
we need to play pool.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to play pool.
And I've just always been a boozy guy.
You feel like you're
now
still
have moved
you.
on. I've moved on. I'm kind of turned into a whiskey snob, and I enjoy it. Now, there's a lot of times where like last night, I partaked in a little too much.
You gotta remember.
And I woke up a little like going, I got my son's podcast today. I really need to be on point. And
just pop a couple vitamin C's
Yeah.
in there, and you just get yourself right. No, see, that's I enjoy asking because, no disrespect to my mom's side of the family, they like, it's
they're
hard.
not boozy. They're not those people.
Boozy. It's very anti-drug, very, like, and I don't want to say they have always been that way or are that way through and through. I haven't had, like, a whole lot of open conversation with it, because you go into that environment and you see what it is and you take it in for what it is, and you're like overwhelmed with this feeling like, oh yeah, nah. Probably not a good conversation starter.
Yeah, it's one of those that you kind of pick your battle and you. Not today.
But the thing for me, like, when it came to the because I can understand what you mean when you say, like, the high. You feel like it's this weird thing where you feel like you're the way you feel in that moment isn't the way you think you should feel, and you almost feel like entirely different. Whereas booze, like, I feel like when I was smoking weed, because I have partook in it after I stopped smoking weed long term, and right before I got this job, I literally got high, and it was this weird thing where you're like, I don't even feel like I'm supposed to be here right now. And it's not necessarily like physically you don't feel like you're not supposed to be there right now. It's mentally, you're like, I feel like I should not be feeling this way right now. Like, it almost feels unnatural. Whereas with booze, it's this weird thing where it's like you still feel like you're functioning at your normal, like, frequency. You're just a little dumb.
But if you have someone film you sometimes, like, whether it may be because there's a threshold. Like, for years drinking beer, I had a high threshold on beer. Like, I could drink, I could tie it on, and I could function like
Like you normally do.
I normally do, like, and it was scary. Like I'm not going to tattle on myself, but there was things that I did that would be extremely frowned upon in a lot of different areas, and people wouldn't know. They could smell it on me.
Uh,
Oh yeah, when you drink beer, you have that smell. There's a whiskey smell. Everybody
you
has
can smell when somebody's been drinking it.
right, but that would be the only thing. There'd be like, guy smells like beer. I functioned, I talked, I did everything, but I had drank a ridiculous amount, and not to be proud of it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying. I'm just saying that where I've kind of got the point where I saw that and was like, yeah, when you sit down with an 18 pack and in the morning, you wake up the next morning, you're like, yeah, I should have like a couple beers. Back to the liquor store, back to buy another 18 pack, and then he's like, wow, I
Yeah, it
drank
just
18
becomes a
beers
loop.
yesterday, and I built a table. Like I was using table saws and rip saws, and and it came out and it looks. I did that on 18 beers.
Shit, I wonder what I could do on 26.
And that's the same thing. It was like, I'm going to move to 26 and then 30. And then it's got to the point where it's like,
This isn't good anymore.
this is, my body is just like when you buy 6% alcohol beer
Mm-hmm.
and then the next day you sweat out 2 beer,
Mm-hmm.
there's an issue. And you're like, okay, I'm done. And then I turned to like whiskey and everything. And whiskey, there's a difference. Like,
Oh, for sure.
like you don't drink beer and then drink whiskey because you just turn into a complete retard.
I see. That's why I enjoy
See, and
indulging myself in it sometimes. I'm also 22 years old.
Yeah,
with no
you're just
fucking
starting.
responsibility.
I have your age behind me in drinking. It's the point where it's just I've learned.
What's the funniest drunk story that you would feel comfortable sharing right now? Because I've told a fucking bunch of mine on here now.
Okay, so there is a Jungle Juice episode where I used to live in Arizona. We used to all gather up and we'd go out in the middle of nowhere. Somebody'd have a 55-gallon, like or 35-gallon bucket, and we just make Jungle Juice, just fruit and alcohol and Hawaiian Punch,
Hawaiian Punch, Kool-Aid,
just Kool-Aid, whatever, and just dump it in there. And it was $2 a cup, and you got your red Solo cup, and away you went. I remember drinking so much that I actually got butt naked in front of a lot of people, and I got butt naked in front of a lot of people. And I jumped through the fire.
God,
multiple times.
I'm starting to see why I have some of the drunk stories I have.
That was probably the one I remember the most. And then the very first time that I got stupid drunk. Like, I got stupid drunk on Old Milwaukee's Best ice.
Ooh.
Oh, it was terrible. It was like $5 a 30 rack or some stupid thing back in the day. And to the point where I couldn't function.
Oh, I hate being that drunk.
Like, to the point where even sitting hurt. Like, I was, you try to do that whole, like, you're trying
move
to
slow as shit.
You're
trying
moving
to
slow as shit.
mitigate.
You're like, it ruined me. And I see it in the liquor stores every once in a while. And I'm like,
yeah, you just get that PTSD.
just that instant dry heat. And you're like, oh, this is terrible.
Mm-hmm. See,
Man.
I agree. I would say it's pretty much the same for me. The benefit was like I had Ev, so the first time I remember getting super drunk was with Evan, and that was a fucking fiasco. That's one I've talked about on the pod. I'll link it, but no, it's a very unique dynamic that you can have with certain things, right? Like like weed and drinking. Because for you, with how you were saying with the beer thing, that was the weed thing for me. Like my last year in high school, and probably, let's see, I started smoking weed late 2020 or probably early 2017, and then finally went to rehab in 2019. And that was the same way for me. It was like, wake up in the morning, get high off your ass. Like, once you come down from being high off your ass, get high, like, do it
Yeah.
again. And it was this constant thing. And it was the same thing where it was like, oh, shit, I can do this while I'm this high? Shit. Let me get it a little higher and see how it functions. It's that weird thing. Like, it's like when you're out with your buddies at the bar and you're shooting pool and you're playing and you're a little tipsy and you hit a shot you wouldn't think you normally could. And you're like, damn, let's see what else I can do if I have 4 more beers.
Yeah.
And that's how it is for sure. It's a very interesting dynamic, needless to say.
Right.
But, well, I appreciated that. It was,
Well,
it was
this
very
has been
interesting
cool, man.
conversation for sure.
Absolutely. We just danced around the whole bush today and then talked about anything and everything, and that was cool. And I dig those days.
Yeah,
So-
you find out stuff about people you wouldn't expect. You exchange ideas in this weird. You get yourself out of the echo chamber. Like, society nowadays enforces this echo chamber. Only talk to those that you agree with,
Oh, absolutely.
and then it just
And
becomes
then
a shouting
no
match.
one can have their own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
There's one opinion, and you must hear. No, everybody's got their own opinion. We can talk about it, like, and then you have your side, I have mine. We got in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
We're good.
Yep.
Learn from it, government. Learn from it.
That's gonna be a tear down and repeat process. I have a feeling on that
Right.
one, sir. But yeah, Dad, I appreciate it for the viewers. Obviously, we heard my dad's crazy ass conspiracy theory with him not believing we've been to the moon. My conspiracy theory, 9/11 was an inside job. Let's hear yours. I want to hear yours, some outlandish ones if you're a flat earther. I commend you for your fortitude in a very asinine conspiracy theory, but more power to you.
Yep.
Well.
And don't eat yellow snow. Just saying.
Oh, yes, the Lifetime Advice Award.
Yeah. Yep. Don't eat yellow snow.
Don't eat yellow stove. Well, thank you, Dad. I appreciate it. We'll do
Absolutely.
a little bit of banging up on the condo, and then we'll go off on our merry ways.
That's it. Let's get her done.
Cool. I appreciate it, Dad.
All right.